Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Quebec City. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Kenji Agashira, and we've got a really awesome match here, Kenji. Seth Manfield, number 2 ranked player in the world, against Reed Duke, number 19 on the top 25 pro rankings, and pretty awesome here. Both undefeated overnight. There's one other player who's undefeated, but in our feature match here, we've got two star players, right? Our world champion, we've got Reed Duke. I mean, he was a game away from being a world champion until Shahar got him. And also 2 of the more popular players out on the Pro Tour as well, and they are duking it out here in Quebec City, seeing who's going to stay undefeated and who's going to pick up their first loss on maybe their bid for a top 8.
Marshall, would you say they're duking it out on the Manfield?
So, talk us through the matchup, Kenji.
Reed actually didn't play many Dark Jeskai matches yesterday, on camera at least. He played a ton of Abzan. And, like we mentioned before, he's 9-0. He completely dethroned them, I suppose. But I haven't seen him play against too much Dark Jeskai. I'm wondering how this match is going to end up.
Well, I'm going to assume that his matchup is decent against Dark Jeskai, right? It kind of ended up being the deck that came out of the Pro Tour as one of the ones that you would really want to be able to have good game against. And I'm assuming that if Reed decided that he didn't have a good matchup against that deck, that he probably would have put it down for this GP, because he would be expecting a lot. And Reed would be right. There are 25%, a full quarter of all of the day 2 decks here are Jeskai in some level. Now, that can be Dark Jeskai. We also lumped in the non-black version of Jeskai as well. But still, Reed knows that he needs to be able to beat this. So I'm assuming that this is a matchup that he feels like he can win.
No, he even said that during the Super League last week when he played Owen round 1, and that was a great matchup. I don't know if you
I
were
did
able to
watch
catch
it.
Yeah.
That was great.
Unfortunately for Seth Manfield on this board, it looks like he's not hitting his blue sources. No Dark Jeskai list wants to start with Mountain, Swamp, and then a Smoldering Marsh.
Oh, no. Black-red aggro?
Yeah, that is a deck, actually.
Yeah,
but it's
Saito played it at the PT, but yeah, no, this is... Now, the interesting part about how this plays out, though, is there are some decks that will just straight up bury you, right? You miss these land drops, and things get out of control really quickly. Reed Duke's deck? No, it's not one of those. Now, let's not... I don't want to get it twisted here. Reed is getting ahead, and Reed is very happy with his position in this game. But he won't end the game in a quick order. So Seth is going to have a chance to find his blue mana. He will. He will also have time to try to mount some type of a plan. The problem is that every turn that goes by, Reed Duke is over here mounting his own plan and his counter plan and setting up exactly what he wants to be doing. And it's going to make it tougher and tougher and tougher. And now Seth is just straight up missing land drops. He's missed 2 now, and he's missing color, so he is falling behind super quickly here.
Yeah, Reed's deck
he found it.
Right on time, I guess. Reed's deck is more about the slow, incremental advantages where, Seth Manfield really wants to take that early push. He has a lot of 2-for-1s in his deck. Unfortunately, the Dark Jeskai list doesn't have a great way to deal with a flipped Jace. So this is going to put a real problem in, a thorn, I guess, in Seth Manfield's side.
Yeah, Seth will often rely on Manus Rider to pressure Planeswalkers. But it turns out when you play one this late in the game, it's a lot less effective. I mean, Jace is already at 7 counters. Now, you mentioned a few minutes ago, Kenji, while we were chatting, that Jace had ultimated for Reed in one of his matchups, and he used it as a win condition with the mill 5 every time he cast a spell and just milled his opponent. Is that something you expect to see here? Obviously not anymore, thanks to Utter End. But let's assume that Jace would stick on the battlefield for a while.
I don't think that's what Reed would want to do against the Dark Jeskai list. It's certainly a viable option, but I think he would rather leave it on board as a great threat, not only to make a Mantis Rider perhaps only 1 power, or just get back some of his more powerful spells.
Just grind some value out.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The emblem was against the Ulamog ramp deck, so he had time to get there.
Gotcha. So Reed has played a replacement Jace, but Crackling Doom is going to hit it. And this is, of course, one of the weaknesses that you just have to live with Jace in a control deck like this, is that it does open up some of the spot removal spells from your opponent. Reed has drawn his card and just shipped the turn back. He does have that majoring network ticking up to 3, though, and it's going to go to 4 now, so he's in Ugin range. But Seth is respecting it. And I think that Reed is just all too happy to sit here. Yes, Reed hasn't hit his land drop in a couple turns, but that majoring network gives him a virtual land drop every turn, and that just means he has more answers in his hand.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at how well the majoring network has been proving itself in the Esper control deck. Just in every match we've seen it played out, Reed's been able to leverage that into multiple spells a turn where, he could play the Ugin and hold up a negate or something. So really impressive.
And meanwhile, Seth Manfield's mana troubles continue here. He is just in a terrible spot. And I believe he's firing off Kolagon's command in lieu of discarding. Is that what's happening?
That certainly looks like the case, dealing 2 damage to Reed.
It was just end step.
Okay.
But maybe anticipating the fact that he may need to discard if he misses another land drop. I don't know. I can't quite see his hand, but, Reed's got, 5 cards in hand. He made him discard 1. It was an ultimate price. I think Reed was going to miss that too much.
Yeah, both players have been missing a lot of their land drops, but again, like you mentioned, the majoring network putting in some work for Reed, who is fine sitting back as long as Seth doesn't have a sticky threat.
Reed's going to look for an opening to stick an Ugin at some point.
Yeah, and with one of Seth's utter ends gone, I think he might only have 1 left to deal with an opposing planeswalker, unless he has, damage already on the board. Creature damage, that is.
No, I get you. Yeah, for sure. No, that's brutal, especially with the amount of loyalty that Ugin has. He's just massive.
Oh, so unlike some of the other Dark Jeskai lists, Seth is only running 1 utter end in the main deck. And beyond creature and burn, those are going to be his only answers.
All right, so what happened there is Reed Duke went for an Ojutai's command. He wanted to counter Jace Vryn's Prodigy, maybe draw a card. But there was a Dispel for Seth Manfield to foil that. But Reed Duke wasn't done yet. He had that 1 mana left over. And I thought maybe he was representing a Dispel. I don't know how many Reed has in the main, if any. But what actually was a Murderous Cut that he had. And he's going to use that to take down Jace.
Reed with a full grip of cards. I think I see another Ojutai's command in his hand.
He does have one.
There's still a Jace.
The shields are down, too, Kenji. Look at it right now. It's Smoldering Marsh Mountain for Seth Manfield. So this is an open door here for Reed to resolve whatever he wants. He's going to go for a dig-through time here.
Conveniently leaving Jace in the graveyard.
Let's see what he finds.
I almost wouldn't be surprised if Reed opted to get a land here in one of the 7.
He could go land Ugin.
Sure.
Oh, I see an Ugin in that pile.
and a Haven.
Oh, man. Haven Ugin. Is that a good turn after resolving dig? All right. Doesn't want to show him that he has the the Haven, but boom. Big Daddy has arrived upstairs. And this is a massive issue now for Seth. Though I will say that Reed is tapped out. So if Seth does, you said he's got 2 copies?
No, just the 1 utter end.
Just the 1 under end. All right, so this is just devastating here for him. I mean, how the heck is he going to get out of this?
Double Mantis Rider.
Would pressure it. Oh.
Okay.
Sarkon the Dragon Speaker.
Certainly not bad. They can just trade here, I guess, if they really wanted to.
Trade what?
So, Sarkin's going to hit Ugin for 4, and then Ugin could -5 to exile the Sarkin.
I see.
Which wouldn't be awful. We know that Reed has the Haven in his hand. Opting not to reveal that information yet.
Seth does not. Oh, but there's utter end for Reed Duke. Is there a Dispel? There is.
Oh.
Seth Manfield has a Dispel. And now Reed's faced with an issue here. He's got a Sunken Hollow down below that Prairie Stream. So if he's got Scatter to the Winds or something like that in his hand, he can do that and protect his Ugin.
So it looks like this utter end might get dispelled. The Dispel resolves.
Okay. So Reed's going to plus Ugin and redirect it over to Sarkon, which means that Ugin can take a hit. But now you mentioned Mana Strider before or something like that, and that could actually kill Ugin.
It's very possible Reed has a counter and just didn't care about the Dispel. Again, allowing himself to uptick the Ugin, put Sarkin.
I mean, he does win this fight.
Yeah, in lethal range next turn.
It's a little more precarious than the line that you were talking about earlier, where he just for sure gets Sarkhan off the battlefield. But my God, it leaves him with an Ugin if it works out. So it's got to be better.
I trust Reed's judgment on the Esper control
I do
gameplay.
too. Yes, I do too. But I don't have him sitting next to me. I got you.
Second best, I guess.
I like you. You're all right.
Yes, but liking somebody and being able to play Esper control as well as Reed. A little bit different.
That's a high bar,
Yeah.
to be fair. Does this open up, Wild Slash as being an actual card here? Like, is that that's one of the things that the when you're playing against a control deck, you look for spots to get value out of the cards that don't normally get you a lot of value. Uh-oh, are we seeing a dig through time here from Seth?
It certainly looks like it. It's either that or a Tassiger, but considering he tapped 2 Prairie Stream, I have to assume. The Dark Jeskai list is completely about 2-for-1s in most scenarios. The Ojutai's command, the Kolagon's command,
Yeah.
dig through time even, Jace is just recurring value all the time. So there are ways for the deck to come back.
It kind of reminds me of old Jund. I don't want to say that, but it's just grind. With prettier cards, of course.
Much prettier in some cases. Valentine Mackel.
Oh, yeah, man. Remember his deck?
Unfortunately, we don't get a good look at what Seth is digging through, but presumably he's going to hit 2 cards of unknown quality. All right, dig through time resolves. Sarkhan's going to uptick. Attack Ugin for 4, putting Ugin down to 3. Oh, and I think he just passed the turn there. So if you notice, at the end of the turn, after Seth passed, Reed opted not to put a counter on the Mage Ring network, which almost certainly signifies some sort of counter. We'll have to see what Reed wants to do. I think he's pausing in his upkeep. Either that or Seth's pausing in Reed's upkeep. All right, looks like you're going to get that Wild Slash that you were talking about, Marshall. Remember, Wild Slash only going to deal 2 damage here.
That's a little late.
And a Crackling Doom. So by doing this on Reed's
Seth just
upkeep,
has to just throw all this stuff at Reed, but I'm sure Seth kind of has his fingers crossed, like, is this really going to work? I mean, he doesn't have much of a choice here, but...
yeah, Seth opting to do this on the upkeep so
they're
that
scattered to the winds.
Reed has to tap on his turn. And like I mentioned before, it was kind of obvious that Reed had a counter there by the fact that he didn't put a counter on the Mage Ring network. All right, this looks very good for Reed.
Yeah, that was a great sequence for Reed. Getting that Wild Slash out of his hand doesn't really do a whole lot, but countering the second burn spell when you're trying to throw 2 burn spells effectively at a permanent is always nice. And Reed gets to use Ugin to take down Sarkhan and still have Ugin after passing the turn. Huge play for Reed.
Now, ideally, Seth would want to use that Wild Slash on either Reed's life total, if he's low enough, or just to kill an opposing Jace. But, yeah, you got to find a way to deal with Ugin. And Reed, again, still holding on to that Haven of the Spirit Dragon, unknowns to Seth Manfield. Pretty uneventful game, actually, as far as Dark Jeskai is concerned. Again, Seth had that kind of a rough start, but...
I mean, we got to play a game, right? But it just feels like Reed has been ahead the whole way, right?
Yeah.
Which is what we expected. But like I said, it just wasn't the case that we weren't going to get to see Magic Seat played here, right? It was like, yeah, he's missing 3 or 4 land drops, and he doesn't have blue yet, but I know we're going to see a game. And, Seth is a really good tactician. Like, he will figure out, the line that's going to give him the best chance. He's proven that. The problem is, so is Reed. And he has more lands and more resources available.
Reed's got that slow chokehold going that the Esper deck generally does.
But that did resolve the Ojutai's command. Kind of interesting. Ojutai's command gets a creature, but isn't a creature spell itself, so it can't be Ojutai's commanded back. We don't have those type of fights, which is kind of cool because at the end of this, Seth actually does get a Jace, and it looks like he's going to get it transformed as well.
Wow.
And, Reed's sitting there with an Ojutai's command in his hand like, well, that was supposed to stop creatures, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, so many 2-for-1s in the Dark Jeskai list. It is very possible for it to come back, especially given any type of bad series of draws from Reed here. Manfield's currently in the middle of resolving his Jace activation. Discards a Mystic Monastery. All right, Telepath Unbound. Now on the battlefield. And he's going to target a spell here, it looks like. Utter End. Ooh, that was a way to get some value.
Now this is really putting it to Reed and saying, you got another counter spell there, sir? Maybe a Clash, maybe another Scatter.
No, excuse me. Most importantly, the Utter End is going to exile the Ugin if it resolves.
So he can't get it back.
So he can't get it back with that Haven.
Okay. Now he does have another one in his deck. He's going to cast Anticipate in response to the other Utter End, which, at least from Seth Manfield's perspective, says, well, at least it's not a counter immediately. It doesn't mean he doesn't have one, but... Oh, wow. Is Seth actually fighting his way back? It looks like he's ahead now. He's the one with an active Planeswalker to no board on the other side.
Yeah, but remember, Reed has that Ojutai's command. I think he's going to pop it off into turn and try to get back his own Jace.
Yeah, that's fine. Still, I like Seth's spot here. Ooh. Game on.
All right. Yeah, these standard games have been actually quite long and well thought out,
Yes, they have. Yeah, there's a lot of... a ton of interaction in standard right now as far as how you want to go about getting your 2-for-1s.
Eventually somebody ends up on the trade count there if, the 2-for-1s continue to happen.
So we got to make sure we get that Utter End out of the graveyard there for Seth. Maybe I can alert our floor reporter. He did flash that back with Jace, right, Kenji?
Yes.
So that's got to be out of there. Oh, hey, we better get on that right away if we can, in case he exiles it.
There we go.
All right. Just gets a little awkward if he uses it as one of the exiled things or, just something along those lines.
And it is important what he exiles because he does have Tasigur in the deck, so later on if he starts activating Tasigur.
Yeah, and Utter End's a really important card here as well.
Right. I think Seth's already used 2 dispels. I don't think the list runs 3. I could be wrong though.
It'd be pretty aggressive to run 3.
Yeah.
Although it did really overperform at the Pro Tour, so could see it.
Yeah, just 2 dispels in Seth's list.
And they're both gone, right?
I believe so, yes.
I think so, too. All right. So at the end of all of that stack, that was Ojutai's command resolving for Reduke, getting him back a Jace Vryn's Prodigy, also drawing him a card. But Seth resolved Dig Through Time while that was happening, so...
Yeah, he just wanted to find that window where Reed only had 1 open mana. Able to get his Dig Through Time there. Looks like a Prairie Stream off of a Flooded Strand. And Reed can opt to Utter End Seth's Jace if he so chooses. We'll see what he opts to do here with the Jace after it flips. Well, it's going up. I guess he thinks, Seth's Jace can't actually flash anything back right now. It's on 2.
He's correct about that.
And this way he can have 2 consecutive turns of using his Jace to flashback it. Whereas, if he had flashback last turn, it would be on 2. Next turn would be on 3. Then it could go down. Now Seth just resolved that dig through time, so presumably he has some decent spells in his hand. We'll see how he wants to go about doing things. 2 mana, another Jace. Reed's going to go for an Ojutize command here.
A little counter draw.
And we, of course, know that's just going to resolve since Seth doesn't have any other dispels left.
Right. Yeah, Seth's list isn't, this deck doesn't actually play that much counter magic, right?
Nope.
It's more proactive 2-for-1 tile style deck.
Yeah, it's actually amazing how grindy it is. Just with all the discard, the creature recursion, the card draw, the Tassigers like we see here. Like, this deck can certainly play a long game. Not that it wants to against the Esper deck, but...
Who do you think's ahead right now, Kenji?
I think Reed's ahead for sure, especially with this dig through time.
Yeah, good timing. I mean, look at the board.
Yeah.
Active Tassiger, ready to get going. He's got an activation, does Seth Manfield. He's got a Jace of his own, which is going to generate value. Somehow they've evened things up on the mana count. It's kind of weird.
Majoring Network on 1,
They both have 8 lands.
Yeah, I do.
Give me a few turns and then Majoring Network can outpace.
Fair enough. I think we're just going to see Tassiger activation from Seth, even though he's feigning a number of tricks here. Another thing people don't realize is that with multiple dig through times and anticipates, you can, if you're really careful, you can set up your deck, because go through enough cards, 5, 2, 2, 5 for dig through times and anticipates. Eventually, you're going to hit that run where you should know or remember at least what you put on the bottom. And
I saw Reed's done that at the Pro Tour a couple of times.
Yeah. For a player like Reed, I think that's something that he's fully aware of.
Yeah, that's a good point. He has gone through a lot of his library. You can see his Exile Zone sitting there with the Anticipate on top. That's a lot of cards too.
Mm-hmm.
So already been multiple digs. Oh, what is this? Ugin?
Well, 8 mana. I don't think there's too much more than an Ugin.
There he is. All right, so this is the second Ugin of the game. This one is presumably going to take Jace out of the equation.
I would have to imagine so. This would be a really nice spot if Reed had a Murderous Cut, though. He'd be able to
kill Tassiger.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that would be good. And he'll have to settle, though, for not too bad. He's made Tassiger 2 power.
Yep.
Which just isn't going to tussle well with Ugin. Ugin wins that race pretty cleanly. So Seth's down to 11 life. I haven't looked at the life totals in a while. Here we are.
All right, Ojutize command, end of turn for Seth Manfield. Again, with these 2-for-1s, getting back Jace, drawing a card. Now, with only 2 cards in his graveyard, I think only 2. I don't believe there's anything else under there, under that Jace. It's unlikely his Jace is going to flip this turn, but threat of activation is always nice. Oh. You can't be too happy, though, when you're staring down an Ugin on 9 and a Jace on 7.
Yeah, even with Tassigers.
There's another Planner Outburst somewhere in Reed's deck. He discarded one a long time ago, near the beginning of the game. Now in Exile Zone, presumably.
Yes.
You know what we haven't seen? We haven't seen his Shambling Vent. I think that's what
he's got 2 of them in his list, and we just haven't seen one yet.
I think that's what he's waiting for before he goes for the kill on Seth. You know, the little 2-3.
Oh, I think he'll go for the kill. I think we'll see Ugin tick up. Let's see what Kolagon's command's doing. Looks like he wants to redirect 2 and get back a creature. All right. Whittling away at Ugin, but he's got a lot of work to do. Activate Tasigur. So we can get back Ojutai's command, Kolagon's command, or Manus Rider. It's up to Reed.
None of which too appealing, I would assume.
He gave him a Manus Rider.
Okay, so maybe Seth doesn't have another land above those 2 that we see that are untapped.
Yeah, it must be a case. Loot?
This is a great game 1 so far. Lots of back and forth action. All right, Jace.
Might have to get attached to game 1. This might be the only one we get. This one has gone on for quite a while. We've seen this in standard in this tournament pretty consistently that a lot of the matches are going to time. Attack for 2. Okay. Well, that was a productive turn for Seth.
Absolutely.
I mean, he made a Jace. Well, there's more.
Oh my! Oh, the second Jace.
Backup Jace.
Or the third Jace, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to be happy that at least he was able to affect his stance that much. But really, Ugin is a major issue here.
Ooh, I think Reed just drew his trump card.
What is it?
Erish Cleric. The nice thing about this
it
game,
actually
though,
blocks here.
yeah, it blocks some. And even though this game is going long, it's not a resident sleeper fest or anything like that. It's definitely more Pog Champy. You know what I'm saying, Marshall?
I actually don't.
Oh, okay. Reed here with a bevy of options. Let's see what he wants to do. Looks like we might see a flashback on the dig through time. If that's the case.
If that's the case, he's definitely getting down into the part of his library where he knows.
Conveniently leaving up 5 mana for a card like Planner Outburst. But it looks like the Utter End is going to be his option here.
It is the Utter End, yeah. All right, so a nasty turn here for Reed Duke. Utter End's the Planeswalker Jace. Lightning Bolt's the not Planeswalker Jace. And here's that trump card, as you said, Kenny. The Erickson Cleric has arrived.
Getting rid of 2 of Seth's Jaces, though, that's certainly very, very good.
Absolutely.
A ton of Ojutai's commands already having been
oh,
used
no.
from Seth.
Trump down.
Ah.
Erickson Cleric falls to Crackling Doom. What is Seth going to do with it? Is he going to target? Is he going to redirect to Ugin or over to Jace? Redirect to Jace. That means that no flashbacks possible next turn for Reed.
And the
there's
Mantis Rider, yeah, we knew about that.
Lethal. So I suppose Tasigur goes at Jace because that's lethal, and then the 3 can go against Ugin. Is that what you're seeing here?
I think he sent both of them at Ugin.
Oh, he's just trying to get Ugin.
Yes.
So it's 5 into Ugin is what it would be? Well, in any case, it's going to be 3.
Man, the Ugin plus here is just, riding on the wall for Seth, and he knows if he wants to win this match,
yes,
he's going to have to.
And that's what that was,
Yeah.
right? That was him scooping up, feeling like he was going to not be able to win that game from that point on. Even though it seemed like he was behind at various points, he still had enough equity in the game to try to fight it out. But now all of a sudden, the clock has become a major thing. Okay, how much time is left on the clock? How much time's left on the clock, Rich Castle? They have 20 minutes left on the clock. Thank you.
All right, well, let's take a look at their sideboard. So Reed has Negate, 2 Duress, 2 Dispel. Now, we've seen him frequently bring in Dragonlord Silumgar and Dragonlord Ojutai in these grindier matchups. for Seth Manfield on that Dark Jeskai list. Duress, 2 disdainful strokes, maybe another Dragon Master Outcast. That card is actually a huge problem for a deck like Reed's.
Yeah, it's a must kill.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the deal. It's not that it's it's quite easy to kill, but it is another thing that he has to kill, or else it gets out of hand.
Oh, he has an Ash Cloud Phoenix in his sideboard as well. I haven't seen that yet.
Who does?
Seth Manfield.
Well, obviously Seth. Wow, crazy. I remember that card. He hasn't been around much. Kind of cool. You'll see both players quicken their pace a little here. They do want to try to get a real match
Yes.
if possible.
I think I saw Seth bring out some Fiery Impulse and some Crackling Doom. Although, is that a roast?
Going in?
Oh, I think he's looking at his sideboard. Never mind. So I wouldn't assume him to bring in a roast in this matchup.
I agree. All right, we'll come back to the booth for a moment here while the players continue to sideboard. Welcome back. Hi there. Hello. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be watching Standard all day today here from Quebec City, and we've got a really nice one to kick things off. We are heading into Game 2 for those of you just tuning in. That's Reed Duke versus Seth Manfield. They're both undefeated. There's one other undefeated player, which is Omar. What was his last name? Belden.
There we go.
3 undefeated players overnight. Not that many. We had around 800 here in Quebec City, so not a huge GP. We've certainly seen bigger, but a solid turnout here.
Yeah.
And that left us with, a pretty clean little break coming into day 2 here. I was taking a look at some of the numbers. 91 players made it to day 2, and we mentioned it a few minutes ago, Kenji, but we've got Abzan and Jeskai are both a quarter of the field each coming as far as day 2 metagame goes. All right, let's jump back down to the match here, where we've got Reader Rabbit. You ever played against Reader Rabbit on Magic Online?
Only 100,000 times.
Yeah, he plays a lot.
We both play quite a bit.
Well, you played. You're just a sick human being. That's Reed Duke's screen name for Magic Online, which is kind of where he came up through Magic. And then he's playing against our world champion, Seth Manfield. Now, Seth led things off with Dragon Master Outcast. You mentioned that this could be an issue for Reed. I mean, it's easy to kill. It's about as easy as they get.
Mm-hmm.
But if the game goes long, Reed has to kill it. He has to throw a real spell at it at some point. So a valuable threat for Seth. In the meantime, get in there, little man.
Just like that Llanowar Vision Arrow we saw yesterday.
Yeah, I got in for 5 damage or something. This thing's just going to start chipping away. And frankly, I could see it getting in for quite a bit if Reed doesn't have a cleric. It'll probably get in for somewhere around that amount of damage.
There's only one cleric in Reed's list, so unless he brought some in from the sideboard, which he could in this matchup, but I don't think they're great.
Yeah, so there you go. Maybe it just eats ultimate price here or something like that, but
it was only a 1-mana investment from Seth.
Yeah,
so
he'd be happy with that.
He's completely fine with that.
And of course, one of the key interactions that you see is that you can get it back with Ojutai's Command. That's kind of the big deal with the thing. And boom, 4 damage. All right, Seth likes this start a lot better than the last one.
Yeah, he was fumbling on his mana in game 1, so.
Big time. Another duress here for Duke. He's going to take away an Ojutai's Command and leave Seth with nothing. He's just got a pair of lands left. So Reed now knows that the way is clear, but he is under significant pressure here. Another land off the top for Manfield means that this is going to be the holding pattern we see for a while, but this is exactly what Seth wanted. He's got a quick start. His threats are staying on board currently, and he needs to get 2 quick game wins out of this if he's going to win the match, and looks like he's well on his way here. Reed's going to need to come up with a planar outburst or similar quite quickly here.
And drawing lands is not the worst here. Dragon Master Outcast, of course, going to be able to eventually start throwing out dragons if.
Good point. It's
Reed
one land away.
Yeah.
This could be land planar outburst, though.
If that's the case, I can't feel too great for Seth, who we know has been drawing lands for a few turns.
Yeah, and had his Ojutai's Command stripped away from those 2 duresses from Reed Duke. Okay, well, there's a Bloodstained Mire.
See a Jason Reed's hand. I didn't quite else tell what he had there.
Okay. Well, he's going to play a Jace. He's still got another turn before dragons start coming out. Assuming Seth hits that next land drop. Oh, what is Seth thinking about? He's got something. Is it a Crackling Doom?
I think he took a lot of those out. I think it might be a Kolagon's command.
Kolagon's command. There you go. Boom.
Probably making Reed discard a card in addition, I would assume.
Oh, well, Reed did discard a card. But it was actually just him casting Negate.
You know what Jace does?
Blocks.
He does.
All day. Reed's down to 7 life here, and there's land number 6. Seth says go. This is a big turn for Reed Duke. He needs to make something happen here. He's down to 6.
Gets himself a Sunken Hollow with that Bloodstained Mire. Now, Jace is going to be able to flip, but he doesn't have any good removal targets, just kind of proactive ones.
That's true. Now, the Ochitai's command wouldn't be bad. It would buy him a full turn. And remember, the dragons don't have haste or anything like that, so he could still dig for a planar outburst in that scenario. But once that first dragon pops out, it does start to become a question more of,
Yes.
of planar outburst or no versus, a couple of, like right now, he could use a single spot removal spell and then another one and maybe stabilize. Something like ultimate price into Murderous Cut or something like that. But
I think I see a Dig Through Time in Reed's hand.
oh,
That's not a bad one to have in this position.
It's not. I mean, Seth's got to be relieved, right? He's like, okay, he needs to find it.
Well,
And
I don't know if I'd say relieved, but
look, it's a lot better than him going planes, wipe your board. Don't you think?
I'd say a little optimistic, but not super happy here.
Wait, so you'd rather have him just planar outburst here? Is that what you're telling me?
Kind of.
Wow. Yeah, I disagree with that one. All right, well, here we go. Manus Rider is going to peck in there for 1.
Surge of Righteousness.
He did have the 2 removal spells. So that we described that line a minute ago, and it worked out really well for him. And Reed also gets a bump in life, and it looks like he's turned the corner. Again, stripping Seth Mansfield's hand early and then having Seth kind of flood out here has really played into what Reed wants to do, and he found the answers he needed for each of the threats, and now it looks like he's fully in the driver's seat here. Is this another?
So he went for a flashback on the Dig Through Time.
He flashbacked in.
Yes.
All right, but that's going to get disdainful stroked here from Seth. That was his last card, though, I believe?
Yes.
Ouch.
Well,
Seth
again,
cold top decking.
Dark Jeskai can certainly top deck some nice ones.
That's true.
We've mentioned this before, but active Jace on Reed's side.
Well, Manus Rider would be nice here.
Sure. Unknown card in hand.
Take
Unknown
down
cards in
Jace.
hand. Yeah. But as somebody in chat mentioned, Reed has got to be Reed-leaved.
Reed-leaved?
Reed-leaved. You know you like that.
No, it's terrible. Shame on you, person in chat. How dare you?
No, that's Seth's graveyard that he's looking at, not his hand currently.
Yeah, D- seems about right. Yuck has been called, by the way, Kenji.
They're talking about
Look
the board
what you
position
did.
for
They
Seth.
are not. Kenji.
All right. Dig Through Time is exactly the card that Seth was looking for.
That was one heck of a rip for Seth Manfield. And it's resolving, so bang, right back in action. Can he find something? Again, finding a Manus Rider would be great here.
I saw a grip of land,
Oh,
though.
my God, I saw a lot of lands. He didn't hit all lands, did he?
I don't think so.
Okay, I saw a command in there.
Okay. Which is still very good. He left the Dragon Master Outcast in the graveyard, so
Okay.
he's going to need to find another removal spell for that.
Yeah, and that's great.
In fact, since he knew the Dig Through Time result, he might just pop off the command right now.
I think maybe he found another command. Maybe it looks like he tapped 4 mana there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Ojitai's command.
Okay, I saw a Kolagon's command go in his hand.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. which can also get back.
Yeah,
the guy.
yeah.
So I think that was his peel was both of those. So yeah, Ojutai's command. Get back Dragon Master Outcast. Draw a card. Go. Well, now this is interesting.
Back on Reed.
It is back on Reed, and Jace isn't going to get him out of this. He's got to kill that Outcast yet again. He did.
And a Shambling Vent.
There
He
it
did
is.
it. Yes.
He's there.
Yes, Marshall. But Mantis Rider in hand for Seth Manfield.
Yeah,
now.
that's what he drew off of the Ojutai's command.
Okay.
So, okay. Business is resuming. Here's the Kolagon's command, and he can use this to get back the Outcast again.
Ooh, and make Reed discard. What is the last card in hand? I think that might be his last card in hand.
Let's see. Is he going to go for a dig here? Is that what's going on?
Oh,
Oh, clash. Scatter to the winds, excuse me.
with Awaken.
Oh, he is awakening.
Yeah.
That's
Because he has nothing else to do with his mana.
Well, yeah, that's true. He often won't. You know, he knows how important the lands are to the deck. Here's Mantis Rider. And so he said, you know, there's a lot of times when he doesn't want to awaken it to risk his lands getting killed. But now Seth is back out of gas again.
He didn't draw anything. We're going to probably see Shambling Vent come in too just to gain some life.
I think you're right, Kenji. Now, there's nothing he can get back with that Spirit or the Haven, right? No?
Not quite yet, no. Scatter and just ultimate price.
All right. So gain a couple of life, get in for 3 damage, and we somehow found ourselves in a creature race here.
Well, the Mantis Rider can just block the Shambling Vent where they bounce off each other, but
Yeah, but that's 3 damage getting in for Reed.
that's very accurate.
Oh, Utter End off the top for Manfield now. He's going to use it on Jace, and yeah, now we're really down to just the creatures. We've got a creature land, a creature, and another creature. So, you know how it goes. Control against Jet Sky.
Mantis Rider,
It's all about combat damage.
the Shambling Vent can't attack into Mantis Rider anymore. It's
Yeah,
not-
you're right.
yeah.
You're right. I guess he'll just offer the trade for his land.
Oh, a murderous cut from
Oh,
Reed.
man, another top deck. Wow, these guys are just back and forth at each other with these answers. Let's see what Seth finds now. I'm going to say Sarkon.
That would be pretty decent.
Oh, crap. I was right. Had it the whole time. Wow.
Shoe on header pre-recorded, Marshall.
This is live recording. Wow, that was kind of sweet.
So he deals 4 damage.
But then
to
it's just
land.
going to die, right?
Yeah, to the Shambling Vents.
Yeah.
The old back and forth Hifo.
Holy smokes. All right, there's an Anticipate.
Ooh, a negate. I couldn't quite tell what else was in there, but they were all spells.
Jet says I'm rigged.
All right, Jace off the top for Seth.
So once again, it's Shambling Vent aggro here for Reduke.
I mean, he's already back up to 11.
Is this the world we're in? I wonder if he's just going to try to kill him with it, though.
Seth's great.
Oh, he found something else. Let's see what he's got. Ooh,
Oy.
a dig. Dig through time. That's a little more like it.
Now, usually in Magic, you're digging your own grave by making mistakes, but I think Reed's the one digging a grave for Seth.
For Seth, sure.
Oh, I see an Ugin in there. All right. Take number 1's Ugin. I couldn't tell what number 2 was, but looked like an Utter End. Oh, man. Just complete gas here for Reed Duke. It's going to quickly pop off.
Yeah, that dig through time was massive. It really feels like it's going to be tough for Seth to come back from that. And that could be the nails in the coffin right there. Seth is riding very quickly. I think he knows that he's just about dead here, but he has to win back-to-back games, so there's no point in conceding. He can just wait, maybe take one more draw, step, and then call this thing a game.
Yeah, Seth
And
actually dead next turn to
Reed
Shambling.
Duke stays undefeated. He is 10-0 with his Esper control deck. He did well with it at the Pro Tour.